Hello, this is Michael Ceely in the High Performance Podcast. Today's episode is about the power of gratitude in high performance. Now, there's a lot of talk about gratitude these days. It's very trendy, but I want to get deep into it because gratitude works. I practice gratitude daily. At the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a technique, a bit of a homework assignment that's going to help you in your performance, whatever it is that you do that is a high-performing type of thing. Even if it's not high-performing, this particular gratitude exercise will help. Save that for the end of the session. But let's start out with the inspiration for this episode. I was at a Starbucks yesterday. I don't usually go there because I'm kind of more of a coffee snob, but I needed a little caffeine and went to Starbucks. And there was a woman behind the counter who was very, very cheerful. And I had gone into the store kind of grumpy, and she just totally cheered me up. Her attitude was exuding gratitude. Absolutely. And she said to me as she gave me the coffee, she said, "There you go, amazing." And it was just like kind of this Zen thing that came out of her, and she was smiling, and her coworkers obviously liked working with her, and it got me thinking about the power of gratitude. And this woman was so grateful to give me coffee, to have a job working at Starbucks. Maybe that's not your aspiration, but what it was for me was knowing that wherever you are, there's always something to be grateful for. And what she gave to me was just this gratitude, just the power of it wherever you're at. And I left that Starbucks feeling literally amazing. So I decided to do a podcast on this and apply the power of gratitude, not just to your daily life, like something mundane like getting coffee, but more along the lines of how can gratitude help you in your sport, in your business, any type of endeavor where you're really achieving things and having to perform at a high level. Gratitude can really supercharge your performance. Okay, now we hear this, but we kind of wonder, is this really true? If I start using gratitude, am I actually going to lose my motivation? Because I'm really comfortable with pushing myself, with grinding, with being self-critical, with being a tough guy or a tough girl or whatever it is. And that does work. That kind of fuel, that kind of mindset does work. However, if you add a dose of gratitude to that mindset, you'll be surprised. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be less likely to burn out. You're going to just feel good overall mentally and physically, because if you have gratitude flowing in your brain and in your thoughts, there's actually a lot of studies on this with fMRI brain scans, that your brain literally rewires itself if you practice gratitude on a regular basis. And what that means is you're going to have less stress hormones in your body, less cortisol in your body on a daily basis. And again, you're going to recover quickly from efforts. You're going to be less mentally fatigued. Like this, these are facts. This is physiology. The physiological effects of gratitude are huge. So this is what today's episode is about. And I also want to introduce our new sponsor, which is Rewire Fitness. Speaking of rewiring the brain, you can go to rewirefitness.app. That's rewirefitness.app. And they have this incredible app that's for athletes, actually for all high performers, and is really the only one out there that has a sports psychology or mental performance or a mental fitness and recovery protocol in the app. It's the only one that I know of, and it's incredible. It really works very, very well. You can connect it to all of your wearable stuff and track things and integrates everything. And it's just some amazing stuff for mental fitness. I highly suggest you check it out. If you go to michaelceely.com/podcast, there's a link there for a 20% discount off of their elite program. It is well worth it. Go to michaelceely.com/podcast. Click on the Rewire Fitness link, and the code is michaelceely20. Again, michaelceely20. Go to michaelceely.com/podcast. So, on with the episode about gratitude. So, as I was saying, this woman in Starbucks really made my day yesterday and got me thinking. I don't even know if she knows this, but she was the reason why I'm doing the podcast on gratitude. See, I've been doing gratitude exercises for the last probably 4 or 5 years, where in the morning I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, no matter how grumpy I am, no matter if I believe it or I don't. If I do it by the end of the writing, the 3 things I'm grateful for, I actually notice a difference. And I also notice the days that I don't do the 3 things I'm grateful for, I notice a difference too. So what I've done literally is rewire my brain by doing this pretty much every single morning. I admit sometimes I skip, and when I skip, I notice the difference. But let's talk about the benefits of gratitude. It sounds good intellectually. Yes, I should be more grateful. It's very trendy. You may be turned off by the trendy kind of stuff, but it works. It really does. So let's talk about the benefits of it. Number 1, more optimism. So it's very easy in today's world to focus on the negatives. The news loves to feed us a plethora of bad news. They know that negativity and drama is actually addictive in the brain. They know this, and they feed it to you. If it bleeds, it leads. So the less you can watch that crap, the better. And what that does is it causes a lot of pessimism. Okay, so gratitude is the antidote to the onslaught of stuff that's thrown at us in the modern world. So if you practice gratitude, you're going to have more overall optimism. Why is that good? Well, you have more energy, literally more energy physiologically if you're more optimistic. These are facts. These are studies. When you're more optimistic, you're less likely to burn out. And whatever kind of high performance endeavor you're doing, you're less likely to burn out. The other thing is that it actually increases your long-term motivation. As I mentioned before, you can get some good motivation by being a tough guy, by saying, get out there, you little whatever, right? And push yourself that way. That does work. That's kind of like the high octane stuff. So I'm not saying drop that. What I'm saying is that if you integrate gratitude into your protocol, you're actually going to see a long-term, kind of long game, higher motivation. You're going to have less peaks and valleys in your motivation. So that if you use the gratitude, you'll notice if you looked at it on a graph, your overall motivation, if you're practicing gratitude daily, is going to increase your overall motivation because you're going to be less likely to be beating up on yourself, focusing on the negative, and the gratitude will smooth out those valleys, okay? So what else can I tell you about gratitude? It does something to basically what you're looking for, your expectation. So there's something called the reticular activating system in the brain, and you may have heard about this. This is also very trendy and popular. Essentially what it is, here's what it is. So let's say you buy a new bicycle, and you really love it, and it's fun, and you're really enjoying it, and you start noticing that same bicycle elsewhere, maybe out on the road or in magazines or on video or something like that. What that means is that your brain is focusing and looking for similar things to what you're feeling. That's what the reticular activating system is. I would Google that and read a little bit more about that. But when you practice gratitude, you train your brain, you rewire your brain to start looking for positive things, not BS positive, but actual positive things. So in this rewiring process, you may, let's say you're an athlete and you have a bad athletic event and you didn't meet your goal and you're driving home and you're feeling bad and you're like, oh man, that sucks. If you have the gratitude protocol you're practicing daily, what you will do is spend less time in that dip and actually look for opportunities for the future to perform better, to events that will help you, and you're going to have more of an optimistic attitude. And again, expectation. Your expectation is going to be, well, hey, what if I use all the lessons from this defeat toward victory in this next event. So it's not BS. It's really training yourself to have positive expectations, not sort of Pollyannish expectations of, oh, I'm so great, but actually realistic expectations instead of just kind of feeling bad about a defeat. So it really builds resilience, gratitude does. So what else can I tell you about gratitude? I started doing this, like I said, about 5 years ago. And here's like the homework thing. Here's the thing that you can actually try. Here's your takeaway that's really going to help you. Is it you buy a notebook. Buy like one of those little spiral notebooks in, like the drugstore or something like that. And the reason I say notebook is it's better to write this down. There's something that happens with your brain and your hand when you're old school, just writing things down as opposed to typing it in your phone or in your computer. And by the way, looking at your phone first thing in the morning is like the worst thing you can do. Don't do that. Try this exercise instead. Literally write this down. I am grateful for 1, 2, 3. And you're going to fill in those blanks 1, 2, and 3. And the first thing that comes to your mind, I'm grateful for coffee, for example. I'm grateful for the fact that we live on a ball in space and the sun is heating us. Like, that's pretty amazing. How often do you actually reflect on that and think about that? Like, you can have a lot of gratitude about that, right? You could be on some weird planet somewhere and be a lizard, right? And that would be kind of boring and weird. So you could write that down for number 2. Number 3 could be you're grateful for your health, right? That's one thing. If you have good health, man, you are so lucky. Like, that's one thing that money can't buy, really, is if your health is in bad shape. All the money in the world's not, it can help a little bit with treatments, but generally feel grateful for your health. Okay. Feel grateful for friends and family that you have. All kinds of things, a roof over your head, like the basics, and really trust this process. What happens, it's not about the actual things that you write down. It's about the rewiring process of getting up first thing in the morning. Instead of feeling default negative, which most humans do, you force yourself to go default positive, okay? And if you do this over and over and over and every single day, and some days you don't feel like doing it and you go, this is stupid, doesn't really work, I'm not really seeing any kind of a difference here. Do it for 2 weeks. That's kind of the zone. Like, after about 2 weeks, you're going to start noticing that during the day, you're going to be looking for grateful things and appreciating, like, birds chirping and appreciating things and go, wow, this is kind of different. After 2 months, you hit another level of overall, you're noticing your moods day to day are less kind of up and down. You'll notice that as well. If you do it for 2 years, I've been doing it for 4, you're going to be, again, noticing more and more just generally good mood, feeling more positive. And what I've noticed personally is just more energy overall, because being negative and stressed drains a lot of energy. Gratitude is the antidote. So I hope I've sold this to you, because it's really worked for me. It works for the clients that I coach, and it really does. So start doing it, and you can do another thing to it as well. If you're a go-getter, high performer, you may want to add this to the 3 gratitude protocol. Add the next sentence is you say, while I create. Again, it's I am grateful for 3 things while I create 1, 2, 3 things. The key word here is while. So this is, again, a rewiring of the brain so that you understand the paradox or the sweet and sour kind of thing. Like, I can feel super grateful and happy, and I can be a badass and push for all that I want all in the same day, all in the same mix, right? Because there's a tendency that, like, when I grind, I'm serious and I'm a badass and I don't feel grateful for anything. But if you combine them, it is a wonderful mixture. So 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you're striving for, or while I create more fitness, while I create more income for myself, while I create better communication with my friends and family, whatever you want to create during that day or during that week. So 3 things you are grateful for, 3 things you want to create. Try this. Try it for 2 weeks. That is my challenge to you. And you will start noticing a shift. And it only takes really about 2 or 3 minutes. And you might actually get into this and actually enjoy it. I do it with a cup of coffee every morning. It's wonderful. I would try it. So that is today's podcast on the power of gratitude. There is a lot of studies that are being done on gratitude in high performance. All of them look like it helps. All of them look like it helps. There's not one study that I've seen where it doesn't help or make it worse. So try it, give it a try. Okay? So Michael Ceely's High Performance Podcast. Hope you are all doing well. Be grateful and keep on leveling up.